This route has turned back or defeated or turned around pretty much all comers so far.
Well, I don't think there's any such thing as a safe ascent of the Middle Sister. These are real mountains, difficult range, in every way comparable to the Himalaya.
It's nasty because of the extreme cold, the extreme wet, extremely bad rock.
It's just a difficult place to be, you know? So, I don't know. I've failed twice on it.
When I go back to the Middle Sister, boy, that's kind of like asking Shackleton if he'd step on board the Endurance again. My answer is unequivocally no, not in this lifetime.
The terrain in the Middle Sister is almost too steep for slinging. The problem is anything that comes down is going to go through the rotor blades.
The most extreme aspect of the Middle Sister is the Himalayan proportions. Even though it's not the high altitude of Everest itself, once you're past the two-step, the difficulties never cease.
You know, you almost don't have the vocabulary. Extreme kind of falls short of what this ascent will do for winter alpine climbing in the Rockies. I can only describe it as what's next.
I feel that everything we've done in our lives has been moving up to this last ultimate push. Everything that came before is irrelevant. This is so big. This is the biggest route in our lives. We're never going to be able to top this. Failure is not an option.
The Sister is an important peak for us because it's an unclimbed mountain, and that route has never been done. It's been said by many to be, well, you think it's pretty much the hardest route in the planet right now?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that if anyone has done it, it would have been Rexel, but of course that hasn't been proven, and obviously that's very part of the climbing literature and the mystique. Did he make it and all that? I believe he did. I believe that he made it to the top. We want to do it. We want to repeat it. We want to come down alive and be able to tell everyone about that then.
The question's always asked, you know, especially by those people who really understand this history. Well, did Van Fuego-Schmidt make the summit? Did he actually get to the top of the Second Sister? Was he, after all this ballet training, able to do the two-step?
In my mind, you know, I concluded a long time ago no. I hate to say it, but I think you're talking about a climbing feat that would have been 100 years before its time.
One of the problems with the Middle Sister is the Drake magnet. It's a little known effect, and basically it just tends to pull you back down the hillside at a high rate of speed as soon as you get tired.
You see the effect just rise on someone. One minute they're a hardened, summit-determined, accomplish-oriented alpine climber, and then the next minute, you know, you just see this change kind of come up from here, and their face change from the North Face to the kind of cow in the headlights face, and soon enough, sure enough, they're looking to the valley floor and looking to that magic glow, and the Drake effect's got them.
One of the main themes of this whole expedition is obviously historical. I want to follow in the footsteps of my grandfather and prove, without any doubt, not with just my own summit, but by the evidence up there, that the Van Fuego-Schmidts own this mountain.
Rexel Van Fuego-Schmidt is an important figure in our history, not just in terms of mountaineering, but in terms of the cultural history of the Canadian West. And it's surprising that not more people know more about him. He was born on January 20th, 1880, in a small village called Hindelopen in the Peak District in Holland. His father operated a windmill, and his mother Molly worked for the local dike. When he was 6 years old, he began to tap dance on the wooden floors of the windmill, and his tap dancing became quite famous. And then he adapted that into a clogged tap technique that bordered on ballet. And I think that this probably had a considerable impact on his climbing abilities later, because he became highly accomplished in dance forms and was a very mobile, physical person. So much so that in 1904, at the age of 20, he was sent to New York to go to the New York School of Ballet. It's interesting to note that such an accomplished climber as unknown in this area. It's not even forgotten. He's not known. And I think the reasons for that are manifold. First of all, he was Dutch, and the Dutch climbing community was small at that time. And climbing in the dike and peak country there was not generally considered, particularly among the British, to be the highest style and highest standard of climbing. There was also a lot of resentment for some of his affectations. He affected this rather ridiculous mustache. He dressed strangely. He talked sometimes with a lisp. After World War I, Rexall achieved his best physical condition and was also at the apex of his climbing ability. He was a remarkable climber. He had this capacity to literally dance up mountain faces, and people were astounded by his abilities. And he went on to greater challenges. And while this is clearly not well remembered in particularly the British mountaineering historical journals, Rexall actually was part of the 1924 Everest expedition with Mallory and Irvine. And it's quite interesting to note that in many of the earliest photographs of the expedition he's included, but he did leave the expedition early, principally because he found the British attitude insufferably self-focused. He found their habits of wearing tweed jackets and carrying oxygen unacceptable to him. That were simply beneath his skills. He wanted to climb Everest without oxygen and without a tweed jacket. And when the others felt that unacceptable and wouldn't allow him to pursue a solo ascent, he decided to leave. And where he went was Canada. He came to Canada to look for more serious mountaineering challenges, challenges that were worthy of his attention and skill. And when he returned to the Rockies, he discovered the Middle Sister. And clearly this was a mountaineering challenge that even he had to respect. And when he looked at the Middle Sister and its incredibly overhanging walls, the difficulty that presented itself particularly in winter, here at last he found that this was something worthy of his attention and his reputation.
It's true that many have tried to follow my grandfather's footsteps, but I am a Fuego Schmidt, and I think that alone will give me some intuition on the right route to take, maybe see danger just the moment before it strikes, and try and get there in the same style as my grandfather. I think that's what a lot of other people miss when they tried to do it and failed and had to turn back.
Well, Rex and Jeff may have the best shot at this. You know, I'm the best climber in the world, but they probably have more just sheer balls than I do. And for that reason alone, they could possibly succeed.
You have to be in peak physical shape to pull this off. A lot of people ask us what sports we do to train for climbing.
Sometimes we run. A lot of people hear us talk, preach about the light and fast style. It's simple, really. We apply sunscreen and lip balm once at the car. We cut our ropes to the exact length we'll need. We pick our gear out and plan it down to the move, and sometimes pre-clipping the gear onto the rope so we have it when we need it.
Rex and Jeff have been pioneers with this style of climbing, and I don't think this style of climbing has been tried on an objective as serious as the Middle Sister before. But it's probably worth the risk. If they can pull it off, it'll be a real leap for alpinism.